And now a nod to man's best friend. The South African Guide Dog Association is celebrating the 100th litter conceived by artificial insemination. It was first launched in 2014 at the University of Pretoria's Veterinary Science Department. Patricia Fasaki has more for us.
The South African Guide Dog Association is making big strides with its breeding program. And right here you see these beautiful puppies. This is perhaps part of the evidence of just how successful this program has been. But to tell us more, I'm now joined by Laura Hasty. She is the supervisor here at the center. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us more about the breeding program. What is it, and just the objective of it, the successes that you have had.
Okay, so we breed our dogs here. We breed Labradors, Golden Retrievers, and crosses between the two breeds primarily. And we breed by artificial insemination. So we collaborate with a lot of the guide dog schools overseas, and they send us semen from some of their dogs overseas just to expand our breeding pool a little. So we breed our own dogs just to make sure we're breeding for the right sort of temperament, a very high work drive, and also to make sure that we're breeding out any potential health problems that these breeds are predisposed to, such as hip and elbow dysplasia. So Petra here with her puppies is quite a special mum and quite a special litter because they were our 100th litter bred by artificial insemination through Honestoport. So we've been breeding through artificial insemination since 2014, and yeah, we've just hit our 100th litter here with Petra. So she's a maiden brood, which means this is her first litter. And the dad to this litter is actually also one of our own dogs, as opposed to one from one of the international guide dog schools. His name is Murray, and he was bred here at South African Guide Dogs Association. And it was, so we collected semen from him and then again used artificial insemination on Petra. And we now have these 8 beautiful puppies from Petra and Murray. So we've got 5 boys and 3 girls in this litter, and they are 3.5 weeks old at the moment. And yeah.
And who benefits from this program in terms of the broader society? Who benefits?
So our dogs that we breed here will go into one of 3 training routes down the line when they're a little bit older. So we train guide dogs for people with visual impairments. We train service dogs for people with physical impairments. And then we also breed autism support dogs for children who are on the autism spectrum.
I also understand that it's a costly program. It's not as cheap. Maybe tell us about that. Some of the challenges, complications that may occur when the breeding takes place.
Okay, so yeah, per puppy, it costs us about 300,000 Rand from the breeding all the way through the training process to get them to the point where they're ready to work. So it is a costly process per puppy to get them through to working dogs. And in terms of potential complications that can happen in the breeding program, we select our broods very, very carefully for our breeding program. We pick from our own dogs, so we've gotten to know them as puppies, and we then test them for temperament. And also for any potential health problems, so that we can just try to eliminate the risk of breeding any potential health problems into our lines. So we try to avoid any health implications through very, very strict testing with that. Yeah.
And when we talk about international standards, compared to other countries that are running similar programs, are we on par with those standards? How does it look like? This is the 100th litter that's produced, but when we look at international standards, where do you place yourselves?
So we, in terms of our protocols that we follow, in terms of our controls that we have in place, we are very much on par with other international schools, and there's a lot of collaboration and communication between the international schools so that we can make sure that we're all doing similar things, upholding similar standards to one another. So in terms of the health testing that we run on our dogs, we do all of the same tests as they do overseas, and in fact we run some extra health tests as well on our broods. So in that sense, we're very much on par with the international schools. We are a smaller school in terms of the number of dogs that we're able to breed. We aim to breed about 100 puppies a year, whereas some schools overseas are breeding up to 1,000 puppies a year. But as we are an NPO and we're funded by public donations, basically, we are fairly limited in terms of the number of puppies that we can breed. So I would say that's the only way we really differ from the overseas schools, is the size of our breeding program, but not in terms of the quality of our breeding.